Pasuk Chet in this week's Parsha states, "V'asuli mikdash v'shechamti b'tocham." When Hashem tells Moshe the command to build the Mishkan, He says, "You shall build the Mishkan, and I will dwell within it." And Pasuk Tet goes on and says, "Kachol asher ani mara otcha," everything which I will show you, et tavnit hamishkan, the blueprint of the Mishkan, et tavnit kol kelav, and all of its vessels, v'chein ta'asu, and so you shall do. And Rashi comments that this is these two psukim come together as a promise. If you build the Mishkan, then I will dwell amongst you. But the Netziv, Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, points out that if this is a promise, it should be flipped. It should be, if you go ahead and do this, then I will be able to dwell within you. Why does the Torah have it the opposite way? Why does it say the fulfillment of the promise before the actual promise? And therefore the Netziv says that these two psukim aren't a promise. He says they're connected, but he says rather it's a question and answer. Moshe Rabbeinu comes to Hashem and says, "Listen, Hashem, you want me to build a Mishkan. You want me to build a place where your Shekhinah will rest. But we know that your Shekhinah rests in the entire world. Mali kol haaretz kavoda, that your presence is everywhere. So how is it possible that I'll be able to build one place that will be able to contain your presence?" So then Hashem answers, "Kachol asher ani mareh otcha," everything I will show you, tavnit hamishkan, the blueprint of the Mishkan, tavnit kol kelav, and all the vessels of v'chein ta'asu. If you do it in the way I'm going to tell you, then my Shekhinah, then my presence will be able to dwell in the Mishkan. And then the Netziv says, "Kachol asher ani mareh," everything I show you. The Netziv says that Hashem basically shows Moshe Rabbeinu a microcosm of the entire world. He says the Mishkan is this microcosm, and if you build the Mishkan in this way, that it represents the whole world, so then just like my presence fills the entire world, so too my presence will be able to fill the Mishkan. And if this is true, if going along with the Netziv's thought process, that the Mishkan is a microcosm of the entire world, then each and every part of the Mishkan, each and every one of the vessels needs to represent something in this world. And the first vessel that we come to is the Aron. The Aron HaBrit. And not only is it the first vessel, it's the most important vessel. The Rashbam comments on the Aron, and he says that even though in reality, when Bezalel comes to build the Mishkan, he builds the building itself first, before he constructs the vessel, because how can you have a vessel without a house? But he says in the Tzivoy, in the command, you start with the Aron, because the Aron is the most important part of the Mishkan, and the Aron is the purpose of the entire Mishkan. So I was thinking that what does the Aron represent? What is the purpose of the entire Mishkan? And how do we see that reflected in the world as well? And I was thinking that the Aron, this first vessel, could also correspond to the first mitzvah that was given to the first Jew, that of Lech Lecha. When Avram was commanded to Lech Lecha, to go to the land of Israel, the mitzvah of coming to Israel, of settling in the land of Israel, I think is reflected within the Aron. It says, "V'asu Aron atzei shitim." You have to make the Aron of shittim wood. Amatayim v'chetzi arko, the length of the Aron. The pasuk then goes on and says in Yud Aleph, "V'sipita oto zahav tahar b'bayit u'michut." You should cover the wood on both the inside and the outside with gold. And v'asita alav zer zahav saviv, and then this crown of gold comes up from the Aron itself. And I think the idea here is as follows: that we know the Torah is not just about the architectural feat of the Mishkan. So what are these nuances in the vessels, and what does it come to teach us about the connection between the first vessel of the Mishkan and the first mitzvah of living in the land of Israel? The word va'asu is very interesting. Va'asu in Pasuk Yud is a plural form. Va'asu, they have to do. And the Orach Chaim says that just like the Aron represents the Torah, it contains the Luchot, and va'asu, you need all of the Jewish people to be able to fulfill Kol HaTorah Kula, all the Torah. He says you have some mitzvah that's just for Kohanim, some mitzvah just for Leviim. So you need everyone to come together to fulfill the Torah. So too, you need to have everyone come together to fulfill the mitzvah of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. You need everyone to be here to be able to fulfill the mitzvah properly. You need to have farmers, you need to have vintners, you need to have doctors and lawyers. Everyone needs to come together. V'asu, all the Jewish people together need to come and participate in the mitzvah of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. And I think the next passage comes to teach us how is it going to be built. How is this land of Israel? How is the Geula, how is the redemption going to take place? And it says, "V'asu Aron atzei shitim." First you have cedar wood. Right? Wood is not so impressive, wood is not so glorious, wood is normal, natural substance. But slowly but surely, after you start with the wood, after you start with this base, Then you put the zav on top. Then you put the zav mibayit to malchut. You cover it with gold both on the inside and outside. And from that, the crown, the zer zahav, the crown then arises from itself. What we have to do is we have to build the aron. We have to build the wood. We start with the chol, then move on to the kodesh. When we do what we have to do, when we build the aron properly, then zer zahav saviv, the crown will come up from itself. And that is how the aron will be built, and that is how the land of Israel will be built. And if we do that properly, and we build the land of Israel properly, just like the aron was a purpose for all of the Mishkan, and Eretz Yisrael was a purpose for all of the Jewish people, if we can do this properly, b'schut zeh, Mashiach shall come b'meher b'yameinu. Shabbat shalom, everybody.